What's happening, everybody? It's me, President Supervillain, Mr. J. Washington, and I'm here with my review for Season 4, Episode 4 of Black Lightning on the CW. Now, you already know the drill. If you haven't seen the episode yet, come on back because there will be spoilers. I told y'all I'm going to be one of the main ones, if not the only one, talking about this show since it's leaving and nobody else seems to want to talk about it. So, here we are. I have a personal level of attachment to this episode in particular because one of my best friends, who's a co-producer and wrote this episode, Lamont McGee, shouts out to the homie. So I always find myself really digging deep into Lamont's episodes. Reason being, Lamont's a great writer, and I like the way he puts words on paper. Because as a dude who's writing his own project, you like to be inspired by those who are doing things, right? So when I see it, I always want to be like, okay, this is how he conveyed the tone here and then, and with the episode and the tone and what everything it needs to be. And this going into the continuation of Jefferson feeling lost without Henderson, Lynn trying to find her own way on top of trying to pull Jeff back in, keeping the girls safe, the girls doing what they need to do for the city, and so much more. I was intrigued, especially when we see the beginning, how we see Jefferson is dying, and it seems like he's been poisoned, and it's by Lynn, and we found out it's a dream, and he's just freaking out. So basically, everything what Lynn's doing with injecting her powers and all that is affecting him. Excuse me. But then, you know what I'm saying, I love the fact we get Kid and Play. Rolling with Kid Play. I was like, all right, let's go to this. The music budget thus far in Black Lightning for these 4 episodes have been phenomenal. It seems like the CW said, yo, go crazy with the music budget, because they've been playing some dope tunes if you've been really paying attention to the soundtrack. But again, we see TC. I wonder what the new name for the lair or the hub, the cave is. You know what I'm saying? Because we knew, I forgot what it was called before when it was under the tailor shop, but we see all that, and then we see TC finding a flaw in the DEGs, and Gambi, going to use that to his advantage to save and protect Black Lightning, Lightning, and Thunder. So when we go, here's one of the best parts happened. Jeff approaches Tobias in a restaurant. Tobias, sitting there, white suit, having a thing. Jeff, just comes in. He's kind of upset, because it's like, him and his wife, to his sworn enemy and his ex-wife, because technically Lynn is, even Tobias mentions it, because I think we forget this, they never got remarried. They're just back together. Tobias says it in the interaction with Jeff. Y'all been divorced for like a decade. She's just a baby mama, which I was like, that is some real street shit. That's what that is. But when Jeff is standing there and Tobias tells Jeff to sit your weak monkey ass down before all of Freeland learn that the Pierce family is the chocolate-covered Incredibles, I hollered. Because, you wouldn't think to say, yo, it's a perfect comparison in a sense, but you wouldn't be like, yo, they the chocolate-covered Incredibles. I never thought that, and when I saw that and heard that, I cried laughing. But again, Tobias has things. He says things that they're very poignant. The dialogue for Tobias is always real daggery. It's that if you in the hood and the culture, people how they Jones on each other, they crack jokes, they roast each other. It's that, but it comes with such a fervor. Comes such strong. It's so much strength behind it. It's just like, damn. He even tells Jeff at one point. Because Jeff gets mad. Jeff's sitting across from the table like this. And Jeff eyes lighten up like he about ready to attack. But then his charge doesn't hold. Tobias say, what's up, Jeff? What's wrong? Jeff can't keep charge. I heard that's happening to men on your age. There's medicine for that. Fam. Then to have that interaction, but then to see Jeff still fighting and to find out he's been fighting for a while, because Lala approaches him like, yo, you need to chill out. And he tell Lala, I'm working through some things. Again, the mental health issue, which I've talked about in every review, Jeff is working through them in his way. Yes, he's still going to therapy, but he is also still working through them through this fight. He is letting off his aggression, because even though it's an illegal fight club, you're making money, but would we rather him be fighting and beating people's asses like that anonymously than frying cops? There's a catch-22. I got a text message from one of my homies. It was like, yo, Jefferson out here reckless. Yo, what type of superhero does that? And I'm like, you got to think about it. In comic books and TV shows and films, we've seen heroes hit that breaking point where they've used their powers recklessly, if you will. Because the underlying theme of it is, even though they are heroes, they are still human. Especially if they are human, because some aren't human, but if they're human. So we think about that. Anissa and Grace, they finally go back to Anissa's loft. Grace is like, yo, you need to emancipate Shonda, which is like, again, I love it. It's the Black Alexa, and the way it treats a queen like a queen. It's the small things that you don't appreciate outside of the realm of these shows and comic book TV shows and science fiction, if you will, and fantasy. But like, yo, that's dope. Because we have you can set your GPS to sound like celebrities and black men and black women, but to have a automated system like an Alexa, like a Google, things like that, do those things is kind of dope. But to find out that Grace is like, yo, where all my stuff? And she's like, it's in storage. It's in storage. Like, yo, you've been in a coma for a year. Like, and then Grace is like, all right, so we can put my stuff up. And this is like, yo, my loft has a vibe. And Grace is like, your loft? But also, here's the thing. We see that in many relationships in real life. When people move in, whoever, unless the couple gets a place together initially, where they both look at the place, they both decide this is what they will do with the place, it's a mutual decision. But when one moves in with the other one, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot. Mine isn't mine anymore. It's now ours. And so to see that again, real life instances happening within the show, but I always have said this numerous times. This is not just a superhero drama about a family. This is a family drama that has superheroes. It's a big difference. You see that Jen out here, Lightning, got 2.3 million followers on IG as Lightning, and she's kind of upset. And then we still see it all ties into the whole Larson report, the Rebecca Larson report, the Tommy Lauren chick, who sits there and spins a narrative, as they have done in actual life, saying that Lightning put out a fake video to make her seem like the hero, when in all actuality, Lightning put out the real video. Now, there are those who may be viewers of mine, who may be fans of mine, who might watch Fox News and believe everything they see on Fox News or Newsmax or all these other things are just law and dogmatic law, and they're telling the truth, when all actuality, when you put the facts out in front of them, they don't acknowledge them, they don't spin them, i.e. the election. But that's a whole nother discussion for another day. But in the process of that, with Jennifer, the Larson report, you see two black people in a bar talking about Black Lightning, and how Lightning is this new age generation superhero, where Black Lightning wouldn't do that, and how he's been for the community. And Jefferson sitting there saying that Black Lightning, what has he really done for the community, et cetera, et cetera. But then Brother Shakur, the detective, is sitting in the back of the bar, and he's talking about how Black Lightning, how the other metas stopped the ASA occupation, how they defeated the Markovians and things like that. And he says the best line at the end of it, when you talk about Black Lightning, put some respect on that man's name. Again, pop culture infusing itself into the things we watch and things we listen to. And for those who, anybody a fan of Black Lightning know where to put some respect on my name came from, straight up. But to have all that, again, to see the mayor and the chief of police and everybody working with Tobias to try to help rebuild Freeland. Tobias always having an ulterior motive. The mayor not knowing, the police chief not thinking something's right. The using the homeless zone that Blackbird had designated for the homeless people of Freeland, and use that, and it all be a big setup to basically get the mayor killed by Tobias, make it look like friendly fire using police issued bullets, have the police get further upset about metas, which she's already done, to use the DEGs, and just, further enhance his vision of what he wants to do. Again, take over. The philanthropy role is the cover, the smoke screen. All of that. I forgot to go to one important part. Gambi finally got some. Look, we've been talking about this for the longest. I love the fact that Lauren from Monta Vista was like, yo, I'm working on this new project. I want you to come see it with me. Take a jacket off, like, later. Gambi shouts out to James Remar, because that's the realest face ever. My man says nothing. He just follows along with it and just goes. That's how you're supposed to do. Gambi finally got some, which means Gambi won't be as wound up as Jeff, because maybe if Jeff gets some, he can let off some sparks and some sparks. I digress. After the whole situation happens with the mayor being killed, Lightning is feeling bad. Now TC warns Jen early about going into the ionosphere. Like, it's not a good thing to do. Like, it can be bad. We see Jen go into the ionosphere, and she's taking the energy. And the energy eventually becomes too much. It overloads her and explodes. Now, some people might be thinking, how did that happen? Remember, when Jen's powers first manifested come season 1 to season 2, we found out Jen is a battery. She could have powered up Jeff. She's a battery. She generates her energy and her electricity from her core. It's in her being. She could, if Gambi's even said, she could be more powerful than a nuclear bomb. And so the energy in the ionosphere overloads her and she explodes into particles. And that is the end of Lightning and the end of China McClain on the show. Some people may be thinking, well, can't they do it where the energy brings her back and blah, blah, blah? We already know China's done. This is how you basically start to end the show. Your heroes do have to die. And now you have a hero who died. I honestly thought that Lala with the DEGs would have took her out. Right? Because when you kept hearing about Lala, saying make sure you take out Lightning first, she's the strongest and everything, it was seeming to set up that Lala was going to kill her. But to know Jen killed herself, doing what she felt good, and then it was her demise. Now we go into the rest of the season with, will Jeff put back on the suit? He has to. We know it's called Black Lightning. It's not going to be a show if he doesn't do that. But you got Jeff going to go back in the suit, but now what type of mindset is he in? Because not only have you lost your best friend, you lost your baby girl, which before that happens, Jen going into the ionosphere, he has this heart-to-heart with her through the door. He has this heart-to-heart that is similar to that of, if for those who've seen Into the Spider-Verse, well, Miles Morales' dad is talking to him through the door when he found out his uncle had died. And you see Black Lightning on one side, Jefferson Pierce crying, and you see Jen on the other side crying. Because it hits, the emotion hits, and that is right before she dies. So now you have Jefferson who just poured his heart out to his baby girl who's gone. You got Tobias trying to infiltrate his family. You got his best friend gone. All these emotions and anger. Lynn now probably more headstrong than ever. Not knowing that it's not Tobias' fault, but wanting to take Tobias out. Anissa being who she is. Also, I forgot to mention, Grace becomes wild officially, and we got a dope look. We finally got the Outsiders reference because we got the comic book cover from issue 2, from volume 2, issue 16. I loved it, but also I meant to bring up a thing real quick before that happened, because Anissa had redecorated the loft to, make Grace feel at home and let her know. That's when she gave her the poster. Y'all know I go all over the place with these reviews. I got a question. Why Grace leave them groceries outside though? Like, ain't nobody noticed that? Like, Grace had groceries. She tried to get Shonda to open the door. Right, Shonda went there. Anissa opened the door. She was like, I put Shonda on emergency mode. Come on in. Grace drops the groceries. She in the crib. Anissa give it a picture. Boom, boom, boom. Find out some stuff happening. They got to go suit up or whatever. Right? But you telling me y'all just going to leave them groceries outside? Like, I get Blackbird and, Wild got to help. But, like, y'all not finna go. Yo, this is some good milk. Like, this is in the front porch. Like, what about the groceries? Groceries are expensive. I don't know. Overall, with this episode, it moves the story forward. It definitely does. Again, I doubt we'll see filler episodes because this is the final season. There's no reason to just have a placeholder episode. There's no reason to have it where it's just like, all right, this will just be here, then we can keep the plot moving forward. Everything has a reason, and we're seeing that. We're seeing everything that happens, every moment that happened has a reason, and it's building and it's building and it's building. And that's what I'm loving about this show, man. But overall, I know my thoughts on it. Again, I told you my personal bias in the beginning. Overall, I've loved this show from jump. Regardless of if I have friends who write on the show, who are members of the show, etc., etc. I've always dug this show. So, I want to know what you think, though, in those comments below. So go ahead and like, subscribe, and click on the notification bell. Are you rocking with this? Did you expect Jen to end up dying that way? Was it a shock? What are you expecting to see more out of the Outsiders? I want to know all those thoughts below, all right? Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. J Washington, MRJAY. You should know how to spell Washington. Check out Blurs in the Hood every Tuesday and Thursday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. on the East Coast. Myself, Winston A. Marshall. Get you caught up in the world of politics, pop culture, entertainment, sports, news, everything from a Blurs perspective, and we're unapologetically black, all right? And the Mad Titan podcast. I got to drop that soon. Been kind of busy. I got to take time to get that done. I understand. My bad. All right. Holla at y'all next week. I'm out.